Most people begin their day in a state of biological emergency. The alarm clock shrieks, triggering an immediate spike in cortisol. Before the mind is even fully conscious, the hand reaches for a smartphone, flooding the brain with a chaotic stream of notifications, news, and digital demands. Within 5 minutes of waking, you have already outsourced your focus to the world and forced your nervous system into a fight-or-flight posture. We often think of aging as a linear process governed purely by the calendar. We look at the wrinkles or the decline in energy as an inevitable tax of time. But biological aging, the rate at which your cells actually lose their integrity, is less about the years you've lived and more about the cumulative stress you place on your system every morning. In Japan, there is a quiet understanding that the morning is not a race to be won, but a foundation to be laid. It is not about hustle culture or waking up at 4 a.m. to prove your worth. Instead, it is about a series of small intentional systems designed to minimize friction and regulate internal chemistry. When we talk about reversing biological age without surgery, we are talking about cellular maintenance. We are talking about reducing chronic inflammation and managing the oxidative stress that literally rusts our bodies from the inside out. The first habit is perhaps the most deceptive in its simplicity: the practice of Sayu, or the ritual of internal thermal regulation. Most of us wake up and immediately demand performance from our bodies. We pour high-dose caffeine into an empty, dehydrated stomach. This creates a sharp metabolic shock. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your blood is at its most viscous. Your cells are parched. By introducing coffee or a cold, sugary drink first thing, you're forcing your liver and kidneys to work overtime before they've had a chance to rehydrate the engine. In many Japanese households, the first act of the day is drinking a glass of plain warm water, Sayu. This isn't about detox in the way social media influencers describe it. It is about biology. Warm water close to body temperature encourages vasodilation. It gently wakes up the digestive tract and lowers the friction of blood flow. From a psychological perspective, this is your first act of self-regulation. By choosing water over caffeine in the first 15 minutes, you are sending a signal to your brain that the day is not an emergency. You are choosing hydration over stimulation. This reduces the initial cortisol ripple, preventing the early morning anxiety that many of us have come to accept as normal. Over months and years, this tiny shift in internal pH and hydration levels preserves the elasticity of your skin and the efficiency of your organs. It is the first step in slowing the biological clock stop, shocking the system, and start soothing it. But internal hydration is only half the battle. Your cells also require a specific kind of external signal to know that the day has begun. This brings us to the second habit, Asahi, or the intentional management of the Circadian Anchor. In our modern indoor lives, we have become disconnected from the most powerful biological clock we possess, our circadian rhythm. When we speak of reversing biological age, we are fundamentally talking about cellular repair. This repair happens most efficiently when our bodies know exactly when to be alert and exactly when to rest. The second habit is Asahi, or the deliberate seeking of morning light. Most people spend their first hour of the day under the flickering artificial blue light of a screen or a bathroom bulb. This light is insufficient. It is too dim to signal the brain that the day has truly begun yet harsh enough to strain the eyes and create a sense of digital fatigue before the first task is even started. In Japan, it is common to see people opening their curtains wide or stepping onto a balcony the moment they wake. This isn't just a pleasant way to start the day. It is a biological necessity. When natural sunlight hits the photoreceptors in your eyes, it sends a direct message to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the master clock of your brain. This signals the immediate suppression of melatonin and the timed release of cortisol, giving you natural energy. More importantly, it sets a timer for 16 hours later, ensuring that your body will produce deep sleep hormones at the right time. Aging is often accelerated by chronic sleep deprivation and poor sleep quality. By anchoring your day with Asahi, you are automating your recovery for the following night. You are giving your cells the on signal so they can later perform the repair function. The third habit shifts from the eyes to the limbs, radio taiso, or the ritual of gentle mobilization. Most people fall into two extremes. They either roll out of bed and trudge straight to a desk, remaining sedentary for hours, or they jump into a high-intensity, high-impact workout while their joints are still cold and their nervous system is fragile. Both approaches accelerate biological wear. Sedentary behavior leads to stagnant lymphatic fluid, the waste disposal system of your body, while premature high-intensity exercise can cause micro-traumas and unnecessary systemic inflammation. In nearly every Japanese park or school, you will find people performing a short rhythmic set of movements known as radio taiso. It is not exercise in the sense of burning calories. It is a system of joint lubrication. By gently rotating the neck, shoulders, and hips and engaging in light stretching, you are encouraging the flow of synovial fluid. This fluid acts as a cushion for your joints. You are also stimulating the lymphatic system, which has no pump of its own and relies entirely on movement to clear toxins from your tissues. From a psychological standpoint, radio taiso represents the Kaizen approach to health. It is a 3-minute commitment. It removes the friction of not having enough time for the gym. It tells your brain that movement is a natural, effortless part of existence, not a chore to be endured. When your body moves with ease, your mind perceives less threat. Chronic physical tension is a form of biological debt. By clearing that debt every morning through gentle mobilization, you preserve the fluidity of your youth. You stay young, not because you are lifting the heaviest weights, but because you have refused to let your body become rigid. As we move from physical movement into the mental landscape of the morning, we encounter the fourth habit, moai no kokoro, or the intentional curation of the first social interaction. Most people begin their day by absorbing the social noise of the internet, the opinions, the outrages, and the comparisons of thousands of strangers. This is a form of psychological aging. It creates a state of low-grade constant anxiety that wears down the telomeres at the ends of your chromosomes. Instead, the Japanese approach favors a specific kind of morning focus, one that limits decision fatigue and protects the attention capital you will need for the hours ahead. The fourth habit addresses the most modern form of aging, cognitive fragmentation. We often associate aging with a loss of memory or mental sharpness, but frequently what we are actually experiencing is the cumulative effect of decision fatigue and attention residue. In Japan, there is a Zen-inspired concept known as Ichigyo Zamai, which translates to full immersion in a single act. Most people start their day by multitasking. They brush their teeth while checking emails. They drink their coffee while scrolling through a news feed. This forces the brain to switch contexts rapidly. Each time you switch your attention, you pay a switching cost. This creates a micro spike in dopamine and cortisol, leaving your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for high-level logic and emotional regulation, exhausted by 10 a.m. A tired brain is a stressed brain, and a stressed brain ages the body. To practice Ichigyo Zamai as a morning habit, you simply choose one mundane task and give it your absolute quiet presence. Whether it is making your bed hand-grinding coffee beans or simply sitting for 5 minutes without a device, you are training your nervous system to remain in a state of rest and digest, rather than alert and alarmed. By protecting your attention capital in the first hour, you prevent the mental burnout that leads to physical decline. You are essentially telling your biology that you are in control of your environment, not a victim of it. This sense of agency is one of the strongest psychological markers of longevity. Finally, we arrive at the fifth habit, which anchors the biological process through the gut-brain axis, the ritual of the choshoku, or the traditional fermented breakfast. Modern breakfast habits in the West often revolve around refined carbohydrates, sugars, or heavy fats, cereals, pastries, or processed meats. These foods cause a rapid spike in blood glucose followed by an inevitable insulin surge. This process, known as glycation, is one of the primary drivers of biological aging. Glycation literally caramelizes the proteins in your body, leading to loss of skin elasticity and chronic low-grade inflammation in the arteries. In contrast, a traditional Japanese morning meal is designed for cellular stability. It almost always includes fermented foods like miso or natto. These are not just health foods. They are living delivery systems for probiotics and enzymes. Science has increasingly shown that the health of our microbiome, the trillions of bacteria in our gut, directly influences the length of our telomeres and the clarity of our skin. When you start your day with fermented protein and complex nutrients instead of sugar, you avoid the glucose roller coaster. You provide your body with the raw materials needed for cellular repair, without the inflammatory cost of a sugar crash. It is a metabolic anchor that keeps your energy levels flat and sustained. This stability is what allows you to maintain the appearance and energy of someone years younger than your chronological age. As we look at these 5 habits, Sayu for hydration, Asahi for circadian rhythm, radio taiso for mobilization, Ichigyo Zamai for mental focus, and Choshoku for metabolic health, it becomes clear that reversing biological age is not about a single miracle surgery or an expensive supplement. It is about a system of low-friction, high-impact choices. Most people fail in their self-improvement journeys because they rely on motivation, which is a fickle and finite resource. The Japanese approach of Kaizen teaches us that discipline is not a force of will. It is a design of environment. You do not need to be perfect tomorrow morning. You simply need to reduce the friction of one small habit. Biological aging is the result of 1,000 small insults to the system. Reversing it is the result of 1,000 small kindnesses to the system. Consistency will always beat intensity because cellular repair is a marathon, not a sprint. By slowing down your morning, you are quite literally giving yourself more time. You are designing a life where discipline feels like peace and where health is the natural byproduct of the way you breathe, move, and eat. The clock will continue to tick, but how your body responds to that ticking is entirely within your design. Start small, start quietly, and let the compounding power of these habits quietly transform you from the inside out.